Welcome, everybody. This is Mr. Volpe. My name is Michael, Mr. Volpe. I am down here in St. Augustine, Florida. I am a remote online instructor with Georgia Northwestern Technical College, and we are in partnership with your high school, Sonoraville High School. I'm your primary instructor. I write the announcements for the week, I set the assignments, the deadlines. The whole course moves to the beat of my drum, as it were. And Mr. Churchwell is there with you all to help guide you, to help answer questions. He and I are working in tandem to make sure you all have what you need to succeed and that you do the very best that you can do during our first half of the term and then beyond. Of course, our first half is 1101. That is English composition and rhetoric. And we are on Blackboard. If you go into Blackboard, navigate to the left-hand side, you're going to see a menu with several different buttons, if you will. They're sections of the course. We primarily, of course, as I had mentioned, announcements. There will be an announcement posted at the beginning of each week. There is one today. And these videos are just kind of a little partner effort, if you will, walking hand in hand with the announcement. This is just the video version of the announcement, is a way to think about it. But there is an announcement for week one. That's what we're talking about right now. Also on that menu, you'll see lessons. Now, this is where our assignments, all of our documentation regarding the course syllabus, I have a section on netiquette and ground rules, our paper format, a little sample there to show you all how an essay looks in this class, okay? And we'll be getting to our first essay, talking about that next week. Of course, we're starting on a Wednesday, so our week is going to go into the next full week. We'll talk about that when we talk about due dates and things like that. But continuing on in lessons, you'll see video archive. That is where I archive or sort of record the videos after I've released them to you all for that week. I'll include that week's video message announcement in the archive. So if you ever want to reference them, of course, you could just look me up on YouTube, Mr. Volpe's lecture videos, or you could go to the archive there. You'll see folders for blogs and journals. We don't have any this week, but blogs are going to be in the form, or you doing them is going to earn you bonus points for your final paper, your final assignment in this class, in this 1101 half, which is a research paper on an argumentative, persuasive topic. And each blog that you do, and I'll announce when we'll have the blogs on a kind of an every other week basis. If you do the blog, it's basically going to ask you to reflect on the week's readings in some way. You'll get small little credits, bonus points added to your final paper. And we'll talk more about how many points as the weeks progress. You'll see journals. Now, whereas blogs are voluntary, you can do them for bonus. When we assign journals, those are mandatory. Those count as a class homework grade, okay? So no journals this week. More on that in the week or weeks to come. But you'll see Shell 1 open in week 1. That's what is on offer for this week. And again, when I say this week, I mean Wednesday through to the following week that ends on the Friday's the 17th, the Sunday is the 19th. And here's what we have in week 1. A no-show discussion forum assignment. It's the first thing you'll see when you click in week 1. And this asks you to click on the article link that I've provided. It's a really interesting, provocative piece on the writer is sharing an opinion that, to him, food, cuisine, very elevated cuisine, that's his subject that he's going to be kind of analyzing and critiquing in this article, that is not art. You know, we oftentimes say that, you know, a beautiful dish, you know, it appeals to the senses. Isn't that what art is supposed to do? The wonderful aroma, sometimes you could hear your meal sizzling on a flat top cast iron, whatever you will there. Of course, the taste, it's delicious. I mean, this is all to say, and the plate can be visually appealing, stunning even, artistic, okay? So the writer's arguing in here, well, I'll leave that up to you, but he challenges that idea that we so often, sort of bandy about today, that food can be a work of art. Cuisine can be a work of art. So you read that, see what he has to say, and then I give you bullets 1, 2, and 3, enumerated points for what you all have to do. You identify his thesis statement, state whether it is implied. Does he suggest his main idea, or does he outright say it? Okay. You provide 3 supporting details that the writer uses in defense of his thesis, and then you state whether you agree or disagree with his argument, or why, and why you do or don't agree with his argument. Okay. Now, you answer that. That's kind of only half, maybe a little more than half of a discussion forum assignment. The requirement is, too, that you interact with your fellow classmates, okay? So you have to post your original response, 1, 2, 3, okay? But you're not going to get full credit unless you also reply or engage with at least one other student's original post. And between Wednesday and next week, my hope is that we get a lively discussion going about this topic. I'm going to jump in there, too. We'll get to interact with each other that way. And then, referring back to that main menu selection, the buttons on the left-hand side, look at these: the textbook, the handbook, and the reader, the 1101 reader. I will tell you that the next assignment here, George Orwell, Shooting an Elephant. This is an essay written by a famous author, George Orwell. He wrote 1984, Animal Farm. And then Bonnie Smith Yackel's essay, narrative, short story in a sense, My Mother Never Worked, as is Shooting an Elephant. These are going to be our examples of our first mode of discourse, which is narrative writing. In fact, our first essay in this class is going to be a personal narrative, a narrative essay, a story about you, someone you know, someone intimate in your life, or just about yourself, okay? And we'll talk more about that in just a minute, but before I get too sidetracked, let me continue. So, you read Shooting an Elephant, which is in the reader, okay? When you go to the reader, you will see it in the narrative section, Shooting an Elephant, My Mother Never Worked. You read that, and then I have little discussion questions here attached right underneath, you'll see. So, you are to answer those questions and turn them in by the 19th. That's not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. So you have ample time to do this. That no-show assignment is going to be due the Friday, the discussion forum we just talked about, Friday the 17th. However, the reading exercise, George Orwell, Bonnie Smith Yackel, that's due Sunday the 19th. Okay? One more thing due Sunday the 19th. We have our textbook. It is called, I will refer to it as SCC, Successful College Composition, I believe is the abbreviation there. And you see, I start us off in chapter 3, section 1, which is on narrative writing, our first mode of discourse. Exercises 2 and 3, okay? You could do exercise 1 on your own. I'm not asking you to submit that one. You can if you'd like. But I'd like you to do exercises 2 and 3, and that will be due the 19th. So to review, our first week 1, which we're considering again Wednesday, today the 8th, through the next week, okay? We have a no-show assignment that you need to do. And basically this tells me that you are active, present in class, and that I retain you on the roll, okay? So that discussion forum we talked about, due Friday the 17th. 2 more things, both due on the 19th. Read the George Orwell Shooting an Elephant, Bonnie Smith Yackel, My Mother Never Worked, answer the discussion questions I provided, and submit them by the 19th. And then exercises 2 and 3 in SCC, that is chapter 3, section 1. So other than that, the 3 assignments you need to worry about doing, start thinking about what you might want to write on for a narrative topic. And the topic, a more refined way to think about it is write about a particularly, or at least this is what I suggest, a particularly meaningful moment in your life. Okay, we'll talk more about this at the beginning of next week with next Monday's announcement as we finish the first couple of days here into the weekend. But what was it? Surely there was, and you could probably think of many of them, but I'm asking you to pick one. We want to refine our focus here and think on one moment. And it could be a micro little moment, okay? It could be you could talk about the first time you saw your spouse, who would end up as your spouse, significant other, wife, husband, whoever. And just the sight of that person just overwhelmed you with awe and beauty, the sublime, whatever you want to call it, and it changed your life. Okay, so start thinking in that mode. Okay, a narrative essay. All right, so I try to keep these videos no more than 15 minutes. I'm running at about 11 minutes, a little over that right now. So all we need to do this week, kind of get oriented in Blackboard, look at the menu, look at our textbook, SCC, Successful College Composition, our handbook, which is Owl's Purdue Lab. They have a really useful handbook on different styles, MLA styles, grammar, formatting, etc., etc. Then the 1101 Reader, which has all of our literary selections that we're going to read this term. Okay, get acquainted with that and do the 3 assignments for the week, and email me. Be in touch with me. If you want to talk about, you're thinking of writing your narrative on X, Y, and Z, you want a little more information on this video announcement or the announcement posted in Blackboard, feel free to ask me. I'm happy to help you. You all will find that I am here, at least I hope you will find, that I am on your team. I'm not out to make life needlessly complicated for you. We all have busy schedules, a lot to do, okay? So I'm going to try to make everything as user-friendly, and I'm going to be as understanding as possible. All I ask is that you do what I ask of you to do in the announcement and the videos. Turn your work in on time. Don't cheat. Don't plagiarize, okay? If you do those things, if you are just paying attention and doing the work and being in kind of steady contact with me and Mr. Churchwell, because he and I talk often throughout the week just to kind of get a sense of how you guys are doing up there. If you're doing all these things, you should do fine this term, okay? It's rare that a student busts his hump, so to speak, and does poorly, like gets a D or an F. It's almost unheard of. You'll get a D or an F if you aren't turning in work and if you're not showing up to class there and if you're not turning in your work here in Blackboard. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, so guys, just want to say again, Mr. Volpe here, looking forward to a great spring term, and welcome. Let's have a good semester, everybody. Okay, see ya at the beginning of next week with another one of these. Bye bye.